get yourself into a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you. You can sit up on a blanket or some blocks. You can sit on the mat, lay on your back, whatever is comfortable. Go ahead and lower your eyes or close them. Sorry, lower your gaze or close your eyes, whatever's more comfortable for you. And begin to pay attention to your breath. No need to change. No need to judge. Just pay attention to what your breath is doing. While you're here, see if you can get yourself into a nice, comfortable shape. Maybe you spread that spine nice and long. You can make these movements as dramatic as you feel. You want to come all the way down to a nice slouch. And then elongate that spine nice and tall. Maybe your knees popped up. You want to just let them relax back down. Focus on your body and your breath. See if you can let all other thoughts melt away. From here, start to slow the speed of your breath. Maybe elongate your inhales and elongate your exhales. And stop at the top and the bottom of each breath for an extra sip of air, if you'd like. Ready, I want you to just visualize anything that brings joy to your life. It could be something that brings joy now. It could be a moment from your past that you associate with joy. Just visualize that joy. Maybe try to take it in, embody it, feel it in your heart, remember it in your soul. When you're feeling all happy and full of joy, go ahead and arch your back so that just slightly so that you're shining your chest towards the ceiling. And imagine the sun's just warming that chest. You can really come into the movement with each inhale if you'd like. Check in with your neck. Make sure you're not Lifting your chin too high with your chest towards the ceiling. When you're ready, you can lift your arms. Your eyes can be open or closed. And imagine your arms can be at like a 45-degree angle. You can imagine you're holding a giant beach ball. From this pose, check in with your ribs, tuck them back in, check in with your back, with the ribs, the back of the ribs, right under the shoulder blades. Stretch those fingertips out in every direction. Move those shoulders down the back, away from the elbows. From here, take that giant beach ball in your hand and just make big circles at the waist. I'm trying to move it through space, through the ground in front of you, through the wall behind you, through the dog next to you. See if you can keep those arms the same distance apart. See if you can keep those sit bones having equal weight on the ground. Can you do this very silly thing, but well, not kind of silly. Can you do this kind of silly thing, but still keep a really serious form? When you're ready, you can go the opposite direction. Again, keeping those sit bones down, keeping those ribs tucked in, keeping that waist moving. Your arms equidistant apart. And when you're ready to come back to the center, go ahead and check in with the body again. Tuck those ribs back, melt those shoulders down. We'll exhale these arms into cartoon cactus arms. From here, pull your shoulder blades towards each other. See if you can try to make them touch. Can you feel those rhomboid muscles in between the shoulder blades? Waking up. Breathing here. See if you can keep your arms where they are, 90-degree angles, coming out as straight lines from your shoulders, keeping your sit bones where you are, and rotate your body to the left. Breathing here. Your next exhale, you can rotate all the way to the other side. I'm cheating because there's a wall behind you. Breathing here. And back to your center. Reach your arms out again to that 45-degree angle. Inhale here, nice and big. Shining that chest towards the ceiling. Exhaling out again to your cartoon cactus arms. And from here, we'll just go ahead and bend to one side. Again, keeping equal footing in those sit bones. Keeping those arms straight in your 90-degree angles in your form. Your knee popping up, press it back down. How far? With each exhale, can you go a little bit further? Your next inhale, you can come back to center. Exhale down to the other side, pressing in those sit bones, keeping that arm nice and straight. Breathing in to that side body, releasing down a little bit each time. Come on back to center. Just fold forward a little. You can release your arms down to the ground. You can round in your back if you'd like. It's just a gentle forward fold. Releasing your neck. Let go of your jaw. Melt into a puddle on the mat to the best of your ability. When you're ready, you can gently roll up to a seated position. You can open your eyes if you haven't already. And when you're ready, we'll come into a tabletop pose. Coming into a tabletop, wrists underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, tops of the shins, tops of the feet, gripping onto the mat. Press into the ground. Press your body away from the ground. Press your shoulders out of your arms out of your shoulder girdle. Take a deep breath here. When you're ready, we'll go ahead and just relax the sit bones back down to the heels. Releasing your neck. Come into a gentle child's pose. From here, if you'd like, you can walk your fingertips back. Come up to just kind of sit into a gentle hero's pose. Hero's pose. If you'd like, you can tuck your toes under here and stretch the bottom of your feet out. When you've had enough of that, you can place the tops of the feet back down and gently lift the knees into the air to give the tops of the feet a bit of a stretch. Drop those knees back to the mat. When you're ready, you can come back into your tabletop pose. On your next inhale, we'll lift the right arm into the air for a gentle stretch, keeping those sit bones even, twisting at the midsection of the body, reaching for a nice long line between your arms. On your next exhale, we'll thread the needle under, bring that arm through, place the outside of the shoulder onto the mat. Option to walk the opposite hand forward and bring the leg back. On your next exhale, you can come back into your gentle twist, pressing that right arm into the air. Exhaling it back down to the mat. On your next inhale, you can lift the left arm into the air, reaching into the sky, making a nice long line with your arms, keeping those sit bones and hips even, twisting from the midsection. On your next exhale, you can thread that needle under, place that opposite arm and leg outstretched. Breathe here. On your next exhale, go ahead and return your leg and your hand to the mat. Lift that arm back into the air for your twist. And exhale down for tabletop pose. Coming into your cat cows, again, shine that chest forward towards the sun. Drop your udder down. Inhale nice and big here. On your exhale, drop your neck down. Bring that belly button towards the spine. Option to tuck the toes under and come up onto the fingertips here for cat pose. Inhaling, hands and feet back down. Udder is released, chest shining towards the sun for cow pose. Exhaling back to cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling to cat. And continue this movement at your own pace and your own breath. linking movement to breath. You can do any adaptation or curves in the spine. Anything just to wake up the back. Had enough of that, you can return to stillness with a nice, long, flat back, pressing into the ground, the hands and the tops of the feet. Breathing here. Gently lift the left arm into the air, reaching forward, lifting the right leg back, reaching backwards. Inhaling here, nice long body. Check in with your hand and leg that are pressing into the ground. Do you have equal weight in both arm and leg? Do you feel balanced? Do you feel like if you pressed your knee back down to the mat, you would be in that same tabletop pose? Or are you leaning one way or the other? Big inhale here. Exhale, bring that knee to the elbow at the center of your body. Inhale nice and long. Exhale, center. Inhale nice and long. Exhale, center. Go ahead and place your hand and knee back down on the mat. You can bring your opposite arm forward and your opposite leg back, reaching nice and long in either direction, checking in with your form. Are you balanced? Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, nice and low. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, nice and long. Exhaling your knee to your elbow. One more like that. Exhaling nice and long. Or inhaling nice and long. Exhaling knee to elbow. And then come back to a tabletop pose on the mat. From here in your tabletop, pressing into the ground again with your hands. Tuck your toes under here. And bring your backside up for downward facing dog. Make any adjustments you need to here in your down dog. Your feet can be as wide or close together as you're comfortable with. You can pedal out through the feet here, stretching the back of the calf, back of the thigh. You can make this movement as gentle or as dramatic as you'd like. You can bring it into the whole body. Keep it in the nice back of the calf. When you're ready, we'll inhale the heels nice and high into the air. And exhale to bring them down to the mat as close as possible. Inhaling nice and deep here. Exhaling out through the mouth, releasing all the oxygen in your lungs. You can flutter out through the mouth if you'd like. You can inhale here. Flutter out through the mouth. Flutter out through the lips. Another nice big inhale here. Exhale however you'd like. Shake your head yes, nod your head no. Shake your head I don't know. Release your neck down here. When you're ready, we'll gently lift the right leg into the air for three-legged dog. Hips are square. Equal weight in the hands. When you're ready, you can bend the knee, bring that heel towards the bum, and open the hips up into the air. Option to drop that foot behind you and lift your right arm for rock star pose. 5 breaths wherever you are. Check in with that left heel. Can you bring it back to the mat? On your next exhale, you can return your hand, return your foot. Gently roll into plank pose. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, we'll lift the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Keeping both legs nice and straight here. Keeping those hips square. Breathing here. When you're ready, we'll bend that knee, bringing that heel towards the bum. Open up the hips. Reaching that heel towards the mat. From here, you can drop your upper leg back and lift that left arm for rock star pose. 5 breaths wherever you are. On your next exhale, you can return to downward facing dog. We'll come down into a nice gentle child's pose. Take 3 deep breaths in child's pose. On your next inhale, we'll go ahead and press back up to tabletop. Tuck those toes under and exhale back to downward facing dog. Breathe here and down dog. Your next inhale will lift the right leg in the air, three-legged dog. Keeping those hips nice and square. Keeping that weight level in the hands. Go ahead and exhale, rolling forward to plank pose and keeping that leg hovering above the mat. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, plank pose. Hovering that leg above the mat. One more like that. Exhaling the three-legged dog. And inhaling the plank pose. Go ahead and drop your foot onto the mat and press back to downward facing dog. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. Rock your head I don't know. Whatever you need to do to release that neck down. We'll lift that left leg into the air for three-legged dog. Again, keeping those hips nice and square towards the mat. On your next inhale, we'll roll forward to plank, hovering that foot again above the mat. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhaling the three-legged dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank. One more like that. Exhaling the three-legged dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank. From here, you can drop your foot back to the mat, press back into downward facing dog. And on your next exhale, you can gently walk or hop. So you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. In your forward fold, go ahead and grab opposite elbows here. Your knees can be bent as gently or as deeply as you wish. Can be folded as deeply or gently as you wish as well. Make sure you release the neck here. And see if maybe you can take each exhale to bring yourself a little bit deeper into your fold. Your next exhale, go ahead and release your hands down. We'll place them on your shins and come into a nice flat back on your inhale. Breathe here in your nice flat back. Your next exhale will fold back down into our forward fold. Grab opposite elbows again, this time with a weird elbow on top. Release in your neck. Make sure you're not holding any tension in your jaw. See if you can make this fold a little bit deeper than the last. Maybe 1% deeper. 1 millimeter deeper. And release your arms. We'll heel toe the feet together. So that the heels are maybe an inch apart. Maybe your ankle bones are an inch apart and your heels are a couple inches apart. Still folding forward here, releasing in the back of the thighs. Go ahead and take the left hand and place it in front of your feet. Lift that right arm into the air. Bend in that left leg. Stretch into that right hip, making a nice long line between your hands. You ready? You can bring that arm back to the mat. Place your hand where your left hand was. Lift that one into the air. Bending in that right knee. Trying to straighten that left leg as much as possible. Mine is obviously bent. Making a nice long line in your arms. Twisting from that midsection and feeling that stretch in that outer hip. On your next exhale, go ahead and release your hand back down to the mat. Place both hands in the mat in front of you. Again, release your neck here. From here, lower your bum as much as possible. Even if you come off your heels, even if your knees come forward, don't come all the way down like I did, but maybe as low as you can without coming off your heels. And we'll go ahead and lift those arms into the air for chair pose. Bringing that bum down as much as possible. Exhaling those hands to heart center. From here, you can place that right elbow on the outside of that left knee, pressing the hands against each other, pressing that knee against your elbow, elbow against your knee. Twisting here in the midsection, lowering that bum as much as possible. On your next inhale, you can go ahead and release your arms, come back to chair pose. Lower that bum again as much as possible. Exhale those hands to heart center. Hook that other elbow around your opposite knee. And come into your gentle twist. Chair pose twist. Twisting in that midsection, bringing that bum down as much as possible. 5 good breaths here. On your next inhale, you can come into a chair pose. Exhale to fold forward. Placing the hands against the mat, maybe just the tips of the fingers. Releasing the backs of the hips, releasing those sit bones. Releasing whatever muscles you felt in your legs during the chair. Again, keeping that tension out of your neck, releasing it down. On your next inhale, we will gently roll up to stand. Place one vertebrae on top of the previous. Go ahead and place your feet so they're hips width distance apart. Release your tailbone down, release your hands to your sides. Set this down. Take deep breaths here, shining that chest towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, let's lift the arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, folding forward, bring your hands to the mat for your forward fold. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward again, plant your hands, step back to downward facing dog. From down dog, we'll inhale into plank pose. Exhale to lower your knees, chest and your chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra and exhaling to press back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in down dog. Your next exhale, you can hop or step to the front of the mat so you're in a forward fold. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling, gently rolling up to stand. Release your hands at your shoulders. We'll do 4 more like that. Standing in mountain pose at the front of the mat. Inhaling the arms up to the sky for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, folding forward, Utkatasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra and exhaling to press back to downward facing dog. On your next exhale, hop or step forward. So you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhaling, hands on shins for a nice long flat back. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling to gently roll up to stand. Exhale, release your hands at either side. Take a couple deep breaths here. Go ahead and on your next inhale, when you're ready, lift your arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, folding forward, Utkatasana. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat. Exhaling to fold forward, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to roll forward to plank. Exhale, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upwards facing dog. And exhaling, pressing back to down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward. So you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhaling here, placing your hands on your shins, coming to a nice long flat back. Exhaling to fold forward. And inhaling to gently roll up to stand. Releasing your hands at either side on your exhale. Take a couple deep breaths here. On your next inhale, we'll lift the arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, hands on chins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward through your forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhaling, gently rolling up to stand. Exhale to release your hands at either side. Couple deep breaths here. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank pose. Exhale, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or an upward facing dog. Exhaling, pressing back to down dog. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, hands on shins, nice long flat back. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, gently rolling up to stand. Exhale, release your hands to either side. We'll take a few deep breaths here. All right. Moving into our sequence, we'll go ahead and start in mountain pose at the front of the mat. Pressing the feet into the ground, feeling all four corners of the feet pressing into the mat, lifting in those arches, releasing that tailbone down. On your next inhale, we'll lift the arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Coming into chair pose, you can either keep your feet apart or heel toe them together. We'll exhale, bend the bum down, come into chair pose. If you feel your tailbone lifting and arching in that low back, release it down. You're doing your cat pose in your low back and your cow pose in your upper back. Breathing here. Nice big inhale. Exhale, folding forward. Plant your hands here, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra and exhaling, pressing back to downward facing dog. Inhaling that right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Hips are nice and square towards the mat. Breathing in here. Bend that knee. Bring that heel towards the bum. Open your hips if you need to. And on your exhale, we'll swing that leg forward. Help it if you need to. And go ahead and come into a nice, sturdy, low lunge. Hips are still square towards the mat. From here, we'll lower that back knee down, the top of the foot onto the mat, and lift the hands into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Gazing at the thumbs for a gentle back bend. Your next exhale, we'll bring those hands back down to frame the front foot. Tuck those back toes under, lift the back knee up, or back to our low lunge. Pick that back foot up about 18 inches so that both heels are on the mat. Your hands can be on tented fingertips or on blocks. And reach your forehead towards your front shin for a runner's stretch. On your next exhale, you can step both feet back to downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank pose. Exhale, lowering the knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to press back to down dog. On your next inhale, lift the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Keep those hips nice and square. Check in with that right heel, bring it back to the mat. Bend that knee, bring the heel towards the bum. One, open up the hips. And exhale to swing that foot forward. Bring it in between your hands, help if you need it. Adjust your low lunge any way you know you need to. We'll drop that back knee, grip the mat with the top of the foot, and inhale your arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Gazing at the thumbs for a gentle back bend. And your next exhale will come down to frame that front foot. Tuck those back toes under, lift your leg up so you're back in your low lunge. Pick that back foot up 12 to 18 inches so both your heels are on the mat. Both hips are square towards the front of the mat. You can pull that front hip back a little if you'd like. And reach for that shin with your forehead. In your next exhale, you can set both your feet back to downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhaling to press back to down dog. 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, whichever is more restful for you. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhaling all the way up to mountain pose, pushing each vertebrae on top of the previous. You're going to exhale to release your hands to either side. Take a few deep breaths here. Your next inhale will lift the arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to bend the knees, lower the bum, chair pose. Inhaling here. Exhale to fold forward. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank pose. Exhale, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to press back to down dog. Inhaling that right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, open the hips, swing that foot forward, help it if you need to. Come into your beautiful, strong, low lunge. Bring that back knee down, lift the arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale your arms back down to frame that front foot. Kicking that front foot back, forward. Exhaling, reaching that forehead towards your shin in runner's pose. Exhaling, bringing that foot back behind you. We're going to go ahead and rotate that back foot down. We're going to inhale up for warrior one. Front foot, front knee is at a nice 90-degree angle. Your knee is tracking over that second toe. Your hips are square towards the front of the room. Back foot is at a 90-degree angle. The outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat. Can you experiment here with keeping that knee bent and bringing your body back in space? Are your arms lifted in the air, your palms can be facing together, your pinkies can be slightly rotated towards each other. From here, we'll exhale down, interlace those hands back behind us, and come down to a humble warrior. Again, outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat. On your next inhale, you can lift your arms into the air for warrior one. Exhale down to frame that front foot, kick that front foot back to meet the back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lowering your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pressing back to down dog. On your next inhale, lifting that left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhaling, bending that knee, opening the hips, swinging that foot forward in between your hands. Help it if you need to. Dropping that back knee down, gripping the mat at the top of the foot. We'll come into our Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling down, coming into runner stretch, reaching that forehead towards the shin. Inhaling here. Exhaling that foot back, rotate your heel down to your 90-degree angle. Make sure that knee is in, rotate your back foot down to your 45-degree angle. Make sure your knee is in a 90-degree angle. We'll lift the arms into the air for warrior one. You can practice keeping that knee bent while you're reaching, stretching, moving your body backwards in space. Trying to put weight on that outer edge of that back foot. On your next exhale, you can release your hands, interlace your fingers behind your back, rear thumb on top this time. And bring your shoulder down to your knee for humble warrior. Again, your outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat. So your next inhale will come back into your warrior one. And exhale down to frame that front foot. Put the front foot back to meet the back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to roll forward to plank. Exhaling to lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. And exhaling to press back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, whatever's more restful for you. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward so you're at the forward fold at the front of the mat. On your next inhale, gently roll up to stand so you're in mountain pose. Take a few deep breaths here. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your arms into the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, coming into chair pose. Inhaling here. Exhaling to fold forward, planting the hands, stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhaling to roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to press back to down dog. Inhaling your right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knees, swing that foot forward. Help it if you need to. And come into your low lunge. From here, we'll lower that back knee down, coming into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling, bringing those hands to frame the front foot, coming into your runner stretch. Inhaling up, coming back to bring that back foot back, lowering it down to a 45-degree angle and coming into your warrior one. Exhaling down to your humble warrior. And inhaling up to warrior one. Exhaling out to warrior two. Again, that knee is at an almost 90-degree angle. It's not it is tracking over that second toe, not dipping in or out. Outer edge of that back foot is glued to the mat and your arms are reaching in either direction. From here, we'll lift the palm into the air, reach forward, and then come back to reverse our warrior. Coming into that front knee again, nice 90-degree angle. From here, you can straighten that knee, and come forward, and then down into triangle pose. From here, we'll come back into warrior two, and exhale down to side angle pose. Again, that 90-degree angle in that front leg. From here, you can windmill your arms down to frame your front foot again. Kick that front foot back to meet the back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank. Exhaling, lowering the knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra, and exhaling to press back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, you can lift that left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knees, swing the leg forward. Come into your nice low lunge here. Coming into your Urdhva Hastasana, maybe practice rolling over those toes to bring that knee down. Inhale up into your Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale down into your runner's stretch. Inhale back to your low lunge, rotating that back heel down and inhaling up to warrior one. Exhaling down to your humble warrior. Inhaling up to warrior one. Exhaling out to warrior two. Inhaling that palm forward and then back. Reverse warrior. Warrior. Check in with that front knee. Make sure you've got your 90-degree angle. Then straighten that front leg. Reach forward and then down for triangle pose. Your next inhale, come back to warrior two. And then we'll exhale down to side angle pose. Checking in with that front knee again. From here, we'll wiggle the arms down to frame that front foot. Kick that front foot back to meet the back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to roll forward to plank pose. Exhaling to drop your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra. And exhaling to press back to a downward facing dog. Three breaths in down dog or child's pose, whichever you find most restful. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward. So you're in a forward fold at the front of the mat. We'll go ahead and inhale up, so we're in a standing position at the front of the mat in mountain pose. Inhale and exhale a few times here. On your next inhale, we'll lift our arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your bum down, release that tailbone, chair pose. Inhaling here, nice and big. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to press back to down dog. On your next inhale, lift that right leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knees, swing your foot forward, help it if you need to. It's in your low lunge. Practice rolling over those toes to bring your knees down and lift your arms in the air for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to frame that front foot, keep that back foot up, and reach that forehead towards your shin for runner's pose. Take that foot back to come into your low lunge. Inhale up to your warrior one. Exhale down to your humble warrior. Check in with that front knee, make sure it's nice and bent. Inhale to warrior one. Exhale out to warrior two. Inhale forward and back to humble or reverse your warrior. Inhale and exhale into warrior two. Go ahead and bend that knee, come forward, and exhale down to triangle pose. Inhaling back up to warrior two, and exhaling down to side angle pose. Breathing here. From here, we'll windmill the arms down, but instead of going on the outside of the foot, we'll stay on the inside of the foot. We'll come into lizard pose. Option to stay with your back leg forward, your chest in the air, and your hands on the mat. Option to bring that back knee down to the mat. Try not to sink into that front hip. Option to bring your forearms down to the mat if you'd like, or blocked. Breathing here. Your next inhale, lift your knee wherever you are. You can go ahead and exhale that front foot back to meet the back for downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhaling to press back to down dog. Breathing here. On your next inhale, bring the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, bring that foot forward. Roll over those toes to bring that back knee down. Lift the arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale down to frame that front foot. Bring that back leg a bit forward for runner's stretch, reaching that forehead towards the shin. Taking that foot back, coming into your low lunge. We'll inhale up for warrior one. Exhaling down for humble warrior, weird thumb on top. Inhaling up for warrior one. Exhaling out for warrior two. Inhaling to reverse your warrior. Exhaling to straighten that front leg and come down into triangle pose. Inhaling back to warrior two. And exhaling to side angle pose. Breathing here. Or windmill those hands down so that it's inside the foot, and we'll come into lizard pose. Option to drop that back knee down, just try not to sink in the hips like that. Keep that right angle in that front knee. And tuck those back toes under. You can kick that front foot back to meet the back, downward facing dog. Go ahead and inhale to roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale back to down dog. 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, whichever is more comfortable for you. Your next exhale, you can hop or step to the front of the mat. You're in a forward fold. And your next inhale, you can gently roll up to stand. All right, take a few breaths here. Ooh, Trey, be nice. All right. From here, we'll inhale our arms up into the air, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhaling down to chair pose, releasing that tailbone down. Inhaling here and exhaling down to the mat. Plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. And exhale, press back to downward facing dog. Breathing in down dog. Your next inhale will lift the right leg into the air, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend that knee, swing the foot forward. Roll over those toes to come down to your knee. And lift your arms into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale down to frame that front foot. And kick that back foot up for runner's stretch, reaching that forehead towards the shin. Getting that front foot back, coming into your low lunge. Lift up for warrior 1. Exhale down, weird thumb on top, coming into humble warrior. Inhale, arms up, warrior 1. Exhale, arms out, warrior 2. Inhale, arms forward and back, reverse your warrior. Exhale to straighten that front knee and come down into triangle pose. Inhale up for warrior 2. Exhale down for side angle pose. Windmill your arms down so you come to lizard pose. This time, keep your knee up in the air. Feel a nice flat back in your spine. When you're ready, take that front foot and kick it up into the air for 3-legged dog. I love that. Take a few deep breaths here. When you're ready, we'll bend that knee and we'll swing that shin forward for pigeon pose. Set yourself up for pigeon to the best of your ability. Make sure that leg is nice and straight behind you. Give yourself any props you may need. Lift your chest into the air and then roll down to pigeon. Your next inhale, you can lift your head, neck, and chest off the mat. And situate yourself so you come back into a tabletop pose. And tuck those toes under and come back to a downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhale for a low cobra. And exhale to press back to downward facing dog. Big deep breath and down dog. On your next inhale, we'll lift the left leg into the air, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend your knees, swing your foot forward, help it if you need to. So you're in a beautiful low lunge. Go ahead and roll over those toes, come down to your knee, lift your arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to bring those hands back down to the mat. Kick that foot forward for a nice gentle runner stretch. Come back to your low lunge and lift your arms up for warrior one. Exhale, weird thumb on top this time, coming down to humble warrior. Inhale, arms up into the air for warrior one. Exhale, arms out to the side for warrior two. Inhale, bring that palm forward and back to reverse your warrior. Exhale, straighten that front knee. Come forward and down for triangle pose. Inhaling back to warrior two. And exhaling down to side angle pose. Breathing here. Rotating your hands down so you come to lizard pose. Leaving that back leg up this time. Breathing here. Feeling the stretch in those outer hips. When you're ready, we'll kick this front foot back into the air for three-legged dog. And we'll bend the knee and swing that shin forward and come into our pigeon pose. Set that back leg up nice and straight. So give yourself any props you may need. Shine that chest forward and then roll down. Your next inhale, you can lift your head, neck, and chest off the mat. Maneuver yourself back into a tabletop pose. Tuck your back toes under and come into a downward facing dog. Go ahead and inhale to roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhaling back down to down dog. Breathing 3 breaths in down dog or child's pose, whatever's most comfortable for you. On your next exhale, you can hop or step forward to your forward fold at the front of the mat. On your next inhale, you can roll all the way up to a standing pose. On your exhale, release everything down. We'll come into our balancing poses. Come into tree or whatever's comfortable for you. You can either kickstand that heel against the ankle, pressing the foot against the calf, or reaching that heel into that inner thigh and really pressing the foot against the leg. As long as the foot doesn't touch the knee, everything's fine. Your hands can be at heart center, on your hips, branches blowing in the breeze. Just breathe here. On your next exhale, you can release your foot from your leg, rotate that knee forward, keep that foot out in front, lift a little higher, maybe a little higher, maybe a little higher, and then just release it down. Give your standing leg a little shake, maybe rub that outer muscle. And we'll switch legs. Again, kickstand into the ankle, pressing that foot against the calf, or reaching that heel into the inner thigh. As long as your foot is not touching your knee, everything is fine. If you fall out of it, you can always come back in. Hands are on your sides, heart center, branches blowing in the breath. Your next exhale, you can release your foot from your leg. Rotate that knee in front. Lift your foot into the air, maybe a little higher, maybe a little higher, maybe a little higher, and let it go. Go ahead and rub that outer muscle of that standing leg. And take your breath. Standing at the front of your mat, we're going to come into a squat. So whatever, however you feel comfortable with your feet, distance apart. Trying to bring those heels down to the mat. If your heels pop up, you can always put a rolled blanket or towel underneath them to give yourself some support. Bring your hands to heart center and press your knees out with your elbows. And release your hands down. Press that bum back up into the air. Oh, naughty, naughty puppy. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and come to a standing pose at the front of the mat. Last chance for, come on, get out of the way. Last chance for vinyasa. So go ahead and lift your arms into the air, or Urdhva. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to roll forward to plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin to the mat. Inhaling for a low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pressing back to down dog. When you're ready, we'll roll forward to plank and exhale, lower the body down to the mat. You can go ahead and roll onto your backs. Lift your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice deep hug. You can roll back and forth. You can make a little circles with your knees and massage your low back here. When you're ready, we're just going to drop the feet down and come into 3 active bridge poses. Feet should be hips width distance apart. And go ahead and lift the hips into the air. You can wiggle those shoulders underneath you. You can interlace your hands back behind your back. Take 3 to 5 good breaths here. And release your hands, release your shoulders, roll your back down. You can windshield wiper your legs a bit if you'd like. And when you're ready, you can come back to stillness. Lift those hips into the air again. For your 5 good breaths in whatever bridge pose you choose. And release your arms, release your shoulders, release your hips back down to the mat. You can windshield wiper out your knees again. When you're ready, go ahead and lift those hips into the air again. Option to interlace your hands behind your back. 3 to 5 good breaths here. You're ready, you can release your shoulders, release your hands, release the spine back down to the mat. Hug those knees into center. Again, rotate back and forward, rocking, giving yourself a nice little low back massage. But when you're ready, we'll just go ahead and drop those knees to one side. Your hands can be cartoon cactus arms. You can place them on your legs. If you'd like a little bit deeper stretch, you can always take the top leg and bend and cross it over the bottom leg. Your gaze can be at the ceiling, or for a little bit more intense stretch, you can gaze over the opposite shoulder. On your next inhale, you can bring your knees back to center. Give them a nice hug again into your chest. And then exhale down to the opposite side. And your hands can be in cartoon cactus. You can cross that top leg over the bottom, like a little extra stretch. Your gaze can be towards the ceiling, or for a little bit more intense of a stretch, you can gaze over that opposite shoulder. Your next inhale, you can lift those legs again, bringing them into center, hugging them in nice and tight. Keeping your knees and shins together, you can drop your feet down to the mat. Bring the soles of the feet together so that your legs splay out to the side. You can always use your hands to support your thighs here. Your heels can be as close to your body or far away as you like, whatever's more comfortable for you. This is Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined goddess pose. You can stay here if you're comfortable. You can also add in the option of gently lifting the thighs just about an inch at a time. And seeing if you can induce any shaking in your legs. Had enough of that. You can hug those knees back into your chest again. We'll do just one simple inversion pose, whatever you'd like to do. You can lift your chest into the air, your hips into the air, and hold onto the back of your hips with your hands. You can bring your legs up to any wall or furniture for legs up the wall. You can always put a block under your sacrum, or any sort of pose that brings your feet above your heart. Had enough of that, you can bring those knees back into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Maybe rock back and forth. You can release your legs down to a nice stretch. Go ahead and grab the right ankle, right wrist with the left hand. Reach that right arm over to the left side, pulling on those intercostal muscles in your ribs. We'll go ahead and cross that right foot over the left ankle and come into a crescent moon. Then release back to the center, release the crossing of the ankles. Go ahead and change the crossing of the ankles, change the grip of the wrist, and pull to the other side. Go ahead and release your hand, bring all your limbs back to your chest. Hug those legs in nice and tight. Reach for those inner soles of the feet and come into a happy baby. You can come into whatever variation of happy baby you'd like. Just wind down and relax, feeling comfortable, peaceful. When you're ready, you can release your hands from your feet and gently come into your final resting pose. Go ahead and bring your awareness back to your breath. You start to make small movements in your fingers and toes. When you're ready, you can roll onto one side using your arm as a pillow. And take one breath in the fetal position. Then using that same slow quality of movement, you can go ahead and come to a comfortable seat. When you're ready, go ahead and close your eyes or lower your gaze. And I want you to visualize yourself again. It can be you now, it can be you anytime. I just want you to say some sort of positive mantra to yourself. Either I love you, you're wonderful, the universe is better with you in it. Maybe great job at yoga today. Anything you want to say that's positive. When you're ready, we'll bring our hands to heart center. And we'll close with one Om, inhaling for Om. Om. Loka, Samasta, Sukhino, Bhavantu. May all beings be free from suffering. Thank you so much. Make sure you thank yourself for coming to